This is First Up with Kane Corns. Thanks to Sportsbet. My name is Nat Edwards. New time on a Friday night. Kane, it's good to be with you.
Oh, it's great to be with you. New host as well.
Yes.
Absolutely thrilled to be spending my Friday nights with you, and we've got a fair bit to talk about.
We do. Let's get straight into it because the Suns have made a statement against the Cats. They were far too hot. 56-point winners in the end and leading the charge, Kane. It was the master and the apprentice in Christian Petrarca, his first game for the Suns, and Bailey Humphrey.
Extraordinary performance. What a powerful performance. What a start for this man, Christian Petrarca. Like he's basically had a triple-double. Like, look at his numbers. He's had 34 disposals. He's had 10 inside 50s. He's kicked 3 goals, 12 score involvements. They basically allowed him to do as he pleased, but the thing that stuck out to me was his finishing, his ability. He kicked it at 87%. When's the last time we've said that about Christian Petrarca? And then this guy, Bailey Humphrey, he was just electric right from the start. He was the one that got them going. Very dangerous inside forward 50. There'll be a time where he plays more midfield minutes, but that was a ruthless duo that is going to frighten the rest of the competition. And as a whole, they're just absolutely stacked. And they've done this to a team that played in the grand final last year, which is scary.
And they'll be pleased too with Bailey Humphrey because they made a statement, this club, the Gold Coast Suns. Craig Cameron, their GM of football, came out and basically said, we are not trading you at all. He was exploring some of his options. He still had 3 years to run on his contract at the end of last season, but they held firm. And lucky they did.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I feel like there's been a bit of a changing of the guard with that. I felt like we got a bit too nice. And if a contracted player wanted to walk out, a lot of clubs would let them walk out. I wonder how Melbourne are feeling right now, letting Petrarca walk out. Same with Carlton and Curnow, which we'll get to shortly. But do not let one of your most talented young players and a player that can be a destructive force for the next 10 years walk out his contract. No, we're not playing nice. You're contracted, you signed it, you're staying. He'll still play well like he did. He didn't look like he dirtied up at all to me. And whilst he wasn't that honest with them in the trade period, Gold Coast played it beautifully and now they're reaping the rewards. And other clubs that have contracted players, Essendon and Zach Merritt, they might just be a changing of the guard with the way that they handle it at the trade period.
And now the onus is on the Suns to make sure he doesn't want to explore his options again at the end of this season. The big story, though, Kane, out of this game is Geelong because they were sloppy and they made uncharacteristic mistakes.
It's going to be a hard watch, this. Now,
yeah, look away,
they could finish bottom 4 and we couldn't be too critical. With the history that this club has had, with the success that they've had, with them being up the top for so long, but some of this vision is frightening for Geelong. Now, they're old, and they look slow and they look underprepared. Now, it is opening round. They've come off a short pre-season and interrupted preparation. No Cameron, no Dangerfield and others in that side. But this vision, regardless of all of that, is unacceptable. So we've got skill errors. We've got players that looking like they are very timid. Effort there from Ollie Henry, which is really ordinary. Look at this from Brian Myers. Didn't want to accept the contact, coughed it up. That goes back. They kicked 90 points off turnover, Gold Coast. 90 points. Now, this sums it up. Where's the pressure? Forward handball to a player in 20 metres of space. That goes down for another goal. So they just, as I said, looked really underprepared. It's alarming. Their draw's not going to get any easier, and it's a really average start off the back of the grand final loss, particularly how disappointing the second half was against Brisbane.
I mean, as you said, they've only missed finals twice under Chris Scott. So being able to stay at the top for such a long time, are you concerned they're going to drop off?
Yeah, I am, and I was before the start of the season, but it takes away nothing from what they've done. This is a hard, even competition, and if they fall right away, I promise you I'm not going to sit here and be critical of them. That's just the evolution of it. They'll find a way to revitalise this list, which is difficult to do without the draft capital that they've had. But it was an alarming start. I'm looking forward to seeing how they bounce back next week.
You mentioned draft capital. The Gold Coast Suns have had some of that. And Zeke, the freak, is one of them. Leo Lombard, though, the other high draft pick, a pick 9 in the 2024 draft. Some of these young Suns are looking good.
There's another one. They just found another one. Like, another 2, really. Like, I know we're speaking about Jagger Smith for the rising star, but let's start speaking about Lombard. Like, he looked electric today. 4 games last year, had that nasty shoulder injury. They've been speaking about him. They desperately wanted to get him, which they did. He's got speed and he can finish. Like, the composure here, the extra step is what I love. He just took the extra step to steady himself. Shows to me he's really comfortable at the level. Breaks tackles, electric speed, can bounce, can carry, high metres gained, and then just the poise. That was the thing for me. So a big night for him when you look at his numbers. Not huge numbers playing in that half-forward role, but big impact from a scoreboard point of view. And then Yuland and the Yuland brothers, yeah, they might be the best current brothers playing right now already.
All right, we're watching this game together and you were brewing. I could
Oh,
feel something, and I can feel the first volcano of the year is here in 2026. So let's have it, and it better be a bloody good one.
Well, no pressure, but I'm just not going to let Geelong off the hook for never getting a ruckman. They never ever address the most glaring list flaw that they've got, and that is they don't have a ruckman. And Reece Stanley, you've been terrific, but he wasn't there, and he's 35 years of age, and he's a skinny ruckman. Poor old Mark Blixarves up against Jared Witts was frightening. The hitouts tonight, 57 to 26. Witts had 51 of them. What do you expect from Blixarves? He's 34. He's skinny, he's light, and he's an athlete. He's not a big ruckman. With the new rules coming in, I cannot believe that Chris Scott and his group, as smart as they are, didn't address the biggest flaw on their list. Yes, Rowan Marshall.
Well, they tried.
They did, but they didn't try hard enough, Nat. There's other ways and there's other ruckmen around. You're going to need at least 2 good ones with the new rules and potentially injuries happening in the centre bounce. They're going to go again with Reece Stanley and Mark Blixarves and hope Toby Conway gets there and can get himself on the park. What is going on with Geelong refusing to do it? And once again, I just thought, poor old Mark. And not only force him to play ruck, but it's what you lose from a wing, from a back, from a forward point of view where he can't play. And then De Koning goes in there and he was supposed to be your generational centre-half back. So I just can't cop it.
Okay, I like it. That's
Strong.
your first volcano. Strong. It gets a tick of approval for this week. Let's bring some more in 2026. Let's just quickly take a look at the next 4 games for both of these sides, because quite honestly, when I looked at it, the Suns could be 4-0 and the Cats on the flip side could be 0-4.
The Suns will be 4-0. Like, guarantee. I'm giving you the first up guarantee. 4-0. Look, they may be 10-0, but yeah, tough one for Geelong coming off the grand final. You cop the tougher draw. That's really difficult. It's daunting for them. And if Gold Coast are doing that to the Cats, look out with what they're going to do to West Coast. It's going to be frightening.
Let's go back to Thursday night, because the Sydney Swans kicked off the season in style. It was a masterclass in that third term. 63 points, the margin in the end, and it was their stars who put on a show.
Put on a show when the game was on the line, because they were challenged early. At halftime, you're going, gee whiz, Carlton have got a hold of them here. And then this man, Errol Gordon, just decided to get his running shoes on and no one went anywhere near him, and he just lit it up in the third, as did Heaney, who had a quiet first half. There's Blakey. Look at that for vision. So I've got their best 5 players better than any other in the league. So let's go Curnow, Blakey, Gordon, Warner, and that man Curnow. They're all getting around him as the best 5 elite of any team in the country.
So wait, you're discounting the premiers in Brisbane who have like Ashcroft, Neil, McCluggage, Bailey, even Dunkley, Harris, Cameron, Rayner.
So
come on.
So you've argued against yourself a little. I think their best 10 is better.
Okay, but you're saying the top.
The top 1%, they've got them. So I had it Neil, Bailey, McCluggage, Andrews, and Bailey. I said a couple of times, but you could have gone with Dunkley there as well. But I think their best 10 is better. And then Freo's is good as well.
Yeah,
so
I like Freo's.
I do like Sarong, Brayshaw, Young, Tracy and Jackson as a really elite 5. But Sydney's is the best. And they showed it with that third quarter.
Well, I reckon the Gold Coast Suns could have given them a run.
Gold Coast are coming hard.
They are coming hard. I like it though. Now, Charlie Curnow, obviously, that was the talk in the lead up to this game. Charlie versus Carlton. 3 goals, 2 in the end, but he looks like he's fitted in very nicely.
So I couldn't help but think, what's he thinking waking up this morning? Like, just had a nice, easy win. They didn't need me to do too much. Like, I just kicked my 3 goals. They weren't relying on me. The crowd loved me. My teammates loved me. And I wake up, I go to the beach in Sydney, and no one knows who the hell I am. What a time for him to be alive versus what he's been through the last 10 years. And I reckon if you're a player who's considering your future and you're a big name and you're not a footy head, like you're not a footy nut like Charlie Curnow isn't, like someone like a Joe Danaher wasn't, to go to a non-football market to a good side and play your role and then wake up with no one knowing who you are would just be so refreshing for him. So look, I could see a world, and this might be a bit far-fetched for some, where Nick Dacos wakes up one morning when his contract expires and goes, you know what, I wouldn't mind going playing for Gold Coast. I wouldn't mind the release of the pressure. Like, how's Petrarca feeling right now versus what he's been through at Melbourne for the last 3 or 4 years? Pretty good, I reckon. So I think it's going to be a big weapon for clubs. It's already starting to be. Lockie Neal, Joe Danaher, I mentioned that recruits Brisbane have had, Charlie Cameron, Dunkley. Yeah, I think they can really use that to their advantage from a list management point of view, and Curno's a great example.
Some players like the limelight, though.
Some
they
do.
thrive in that environment.
Some do, so you've got to use, like, some want to play in front of 90,000 at the MCG. Like, I think Zach Butters might be one of those, but some don't. Dacos has done that. Maybe he wants to spend the last 8 years of his career up on the Gold Coast in the sun, but probably a bit more heat down there in Tassie in terms of the limelight. But up in Sydney or the Gold Coast would be a pretty good environment.
So this season, the sub rule has been scrapped, thank goodness for that. And we now have 5 on the bench. And it's going to be such a curious watch to how the coaches actually use the 5 on the bench now. And last night we saw with Dean Cox, Sydney coach, just an interesting strategy.
Really interesting with Tom Papley. And I got to say, I caught up with Dean Cox prior to the game on the ground, and he said, "Look, we're not bringing Tom Papley on for the first 25 minutes." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, look, we've got to really control his loads. His pre-season was interrupted, so we're just going to look after him. He'll still play 70%, but we're just going to keep him on ice." Now, they didn't hold him for 25. They held him for 20.
He was getting antsy.
But so you got 5. How are you going to use it? You've still only got the 75 rotation, so you have to be really disciplined with that. And I reckon in a copycat league where other teams are watching pretty closely how to manage it, some other teams are seeing that, how can we do this? So I reckon Isaac Rankin is a really good one for Adelaide with his interrupted pre-season. Horne-Francis is the same for Port Adelaide. I think you could see him spending 20 minutes of the first quarter on the bench. Cam Rayner is one for Brisbane. I thought Bailey Dale for the Dogs, a bit interrupted, can give you a real run and carry fresh legs off the bench. And Colby McKercher for North, I reckon, is another one that you could really look after with that 5th on the bench. I thought it was genius from Sydney.
Carlton fans already doom and gloom for the season after one game. I think hold your fire there, Blue Baggers. But I understand it. The skipper, Patrick Cripps, gave away a free kick that he just looked frustrated, which is unusual for him.
I'm not holding my fire. I'm not.
Go for it. What do you got?
Well, footy's tough, because every year you've got to rock up and prove yourself again. Like, even if you are a future Hall of Famer, even if you've won a couple of Brownlows, even if you've carried this club for 10 years, you've got to rock up round 1 or round 0 the next year and prove yourself again. And he was well off last year, and I thought, just the mental load of this for him and playing for Carlton, but some of this vision where he gets exposed from stoppage. And that one there is side by side with Heaney at centre bounce. And within a second, Heaney's put 5 metres on him. And then straight after that, as you alluded to, he's giving away free kicks, which we just don't see. So the question is, and I'm really concerned that he's past his best. Doesn't say he's not going to be an effective player, but I don't think he's going to be that destructive player that he's been for so long, where he's getting 40-odd Brownlow medal votes not that long ago. What's his weapon now? That's what he really has to go to work on. There's the numbers, there's the drop-off, and it was significant last year. You can see that. And then he was poor again on Thursday night in a big loss where they shifted him out of the midfield and put him forward. He's not a forward. He's not a natural forward. So it's a big question for a player who's done absolutely everything there is to do in football.
I just think he might need to relinquish the captaincy, because this is a man who's carried, as you say, this team on his back for so long. I mean, since his debut in, I think it was 2014, he's played under 6 different senior coaches, which includes 2 caretakers. I just think it would do him a world of good
Sam
to
Walsh for you?
say, yeah, maybe. I don't know if it's Jacob Wiedering, and just say goodbye to the captaincy, play with a little bit more freedom, focus on his footy. I think it would do him a world of good.
I like that, and maybe a missed opportunity for them. We saw Tuke Miller relinquish that, and Noah Anderson's done a great job. Others have done it as well, Zach Merritt, for different reasons. But yeah, he does look like a frustrated player that is carrying the club once again.
Now, Kane, I've lost count of the number of press conferences I watch during the year, but something caught my attention today. Let's take a listen.
Look, Toby, we know plays on the edge, and I love that, and that's what I ask him to do. And sometimes that teeters over. So what? I'm prepared to cop that.
Giants coach Adam Kingsley there on Toby Greene and his suspensions, and Toby said, I'm not going to get suspended or fined this year. You cop that? Would you cop that in a final, him being suspended, one of your best players and your skipper?
No, you're not copping that from Toby anymore.
Weird.
Toby's grown up, and he's saying, I need to grow up. I've got a child now, I'm a family man, I've done that, I've had the wild side, I've pushed umpires, I've got reported, the game's got the better of me. Now I'm just focused, and I'm going to be a disciplined leader. So No, absolutely he won't cop that if he gets suspended for an undisciplined act. We saw him cop the biggest spray of all time in that pre-season documentary from the Giants. I don't think Adam Kingsley would be happy if Toby gets suspended in an undisciplined way this year. So it's a good pickup from you.
It's been a massive show. So good to be with you.
Just before we go,
Yes.
we're going to do something each and every week. The best thing, what are we calling this? Things you love to see. Nat's things you love to see.
I love to see a lot of things.
What did you love to see in the 2 games we've had so far?
Well, what I absolutely love to see are families getting around debutantes. And of course, Zeke the Freak made his debut for the Gold Coast Suns. A long time coming as we take a look at the vision here. Now he's getting involved here.
Gives away the 50.
He gives away the 50 and his mum and his brother are going, what is going on? And then it is reverse. James Warple having to hand it over. And Mum, Michelle, is just getting involved. And I love nothing more than the passion of families. And she was happy to give it.
I love Michelle. Michelle is going to get involved. Like we've seen Peter Dacos get involved. We've seen some parents sort of be cool, calm and collected. Ashcroft, Marcus, sits up at the back of the stand.
Pacing around.
I think my man Luke Darcy's pretty cool and calm when he watches Sam. But others get right. And Michelle.
Oh, we love it.
She's going to be box office this year.
Michelle Cam for sure every single game. This has been First Up with Kane Corns. Thanks to Sportsbet. We'll see you again next Friday.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.